Imagine waking up one day, the glow of your spiritual journey still warm in your chest, only to find nothing. The fire that once drove you to meditate, to journal, to chase enlightenment through every sacred text and quiet moment, it's gone. You're not depressed, not lost, but somehow you're just stuck. Sound familiar? You've scaled the mountain of self-discovery, touched the divine within, and yet here you are, staring at a blank wall of motivation, wondering, why do I feel so empty after all this growth? This isn't just a fleeting mood. It's a paradox that Carl Jung, the great explorer of the psyche, would say is deeply human. Let's unravel this mystery together, because the truth isn't just illuminating. It's a call to rewrite your story. The spiritual path is like chasing a sunrise. You run toward the light, breathless, certain that once you reach it, you'll be whole. But what happens when you get there and the horizon feels ordinary? Jung would argue this isn't failure, it's a signal. His concept of individuation, the lifelong process of becoming your true self, doesn't end with a single epiphany. It's not a destination. It's a spiral, looping deeper into the unknown parts of you. The problem? After the highs of spiritual awakening, we often expect constant euphoria, a perpetual state of oneness. When that fades, we think we've lost our way. But Jung would say you're not lost. You're just standing at the edge of a new shadow. Let's pause here. Have you ever felt this? That moment when the practices that once lit you up, meditation, prayer, affirmations, start feeling like chores? You're not alone. This is where many spiritual seekers stumble, mistaking the dip for defeat. Jung's insight is brutal but freeing. The psyche isn't a straight line. It's a dance of opposites, light and dark, drive and stillness. When motivation vanishes, it's not because you failed. It's because your soul is asking you to dig deeper. In the next part, we'll explore why this happens and what's really going on beneath the surface. The roots of this motivational drought lie in what Jung called psychic energy, the invisible force that fuels your desires, actions, and growth. Think of it like a river running through your soul. In the early stages of spiritual awakening, that river surges. You're flooded with insights, synchronicities, maybe even mystical experiences. Every meditation feels like a conversation with the universe. But rivers don't always rage. Sometimes they slow to a trickle, pooling in quiet places. This is where you are now, in a quiet pool, staring at still water, wondering why the current stopped. Jung would argue the stillness isn't random. It's a signal that your psychic energy has shifted, redirected towards something you haven't yet faced. Maybe a buried fear, an old wound, or a part of yourself you've ignored in your quest for higher truths. Spiritual growth often tricks us into thinking it's all about light, love, peace, transcendence. But Jung's genius was in embracing the shadow, the messy, uncomfortable parts of us that demand integration. When motivation fades, it's often because your psyche is nudging you toward these shadows, whispering you're not done yet. Let's make this real. Picture your life. You've been meditating daily, reading Rumi, maybe even cutting out toxic habits. You feel good, elevated. But then life creeps in, a fight with a partner, a missed deadline, a nagging sense that you're still not enough. Suddenly, your spiritual tools feel heavy, like they're not working anymore. This isn't failure. It's your psyche recalibrating. Jung's individuation isn't about staying high. It's about wrestling with the low, the mundane, the human. The lack of motivation? It's a call to stop chasing transcendence and start embracing the grit of your everyday self. So what's holding you back? Is it fear of facing a truth you've buried? A belief that you're not worthy unless you're constantly growing? Take a moment. Ask yourself, what am I avoiding? The answer might sting, but it's the key to unlocking your next step. In the next section, we'll dive into how to move through the stagnation, using Jung's wisdom to turn stillness into power. Here's the truth. You can't force motivation. You can't muscle your way back to that spiritual high. Jung would say that trying to fix this with more effort is like shouting at a river to flow faster. It won't work. Instead, you need to listen to the stillness. The solution lies in self-awareness, in turning toward the parts of you that feel stuck and asking, what do you need? This is where Jung's idea of individuation becomes practical, a roadmap for navigating the lows as much as the highs. Start small. Stop chasing the grand epiphanies and focus on what's in front of you. If meditation feels empty, try something else. Journaling, walking in nature, or even talking to a friend about what's weighing on you. Jung believed that psychic energy flows where your attention goes. If you're fixated on getting back to some idealized spiritual state, you're draining that energy. Instead, redirect it to the present moment. Ask, what's one small thing I can do today that feels true to me? Maybe it's writing a single honest sentence in your journal. Maybe it's admitting you're angry or scared. These tiny acts of truth are what rekindle the spark. Here's a practical challenge. For the next week, commit to one small, honest action each day. It doesn't have to be spiritual. If you're avoiding a tough conversation, have it. If you're pretending you're fine when you're not, write it down. Jung's individuation thrives on authenticity, not perfection. Each step toward truth, however messy, frees up psychic energy, like unclogging a dam. You'll start to feel the river moving again, not because you forced it, but because you trusted the process. Let's ground this in everyday life. Say you're in a relationship and your lack of motivation is spilling over, snapping at your partner, withdrawing, feeling disconnected. Jung would say this isn't just about you. It's about the dynamic between your conscious self and the unconscious patterns you're ignoring. Maybe you're avoiding vulnerability, or maybe you're projecting old wounds onto them. The fix? Face it. Ask yourself, what am I really feeling, and what am I scared to admit? Then act. Have the conversation, own your part, or even just name the feeling to yourself. This is individuation in action, integrating the shadow to reclaim your energy. What about work? If you're dragging through tasks, uninspired, Jung would point to a disconnect between your outer life and your inner truth. Are you living someone else's version of success? Are you ignoring a creative impulse because it feels impractical? The lack of motivation is your psyche's way of saying, this isn't you. Start small. Carve out 10 minutes a day to do something that feels like you, writing, sketching, even daydreaming. These acts aren't frivolous. They're fuel for your soul. In the final part, we'll paint a picture of what's possible when you embrace this process and why it's worth the fight. Imagine this, a version of you who doesn't need constant spiritual highs to feel alive. A you who wakes up not chasing transcendence, but grounded in the messy, beautiful reality of your life. This is a promise of Jung's individuation, a life where motivation isn't a fleeting high, but a steady flame, fueled by self-awareness and courage. When you stop running from the stillness and start listening to it, you unlock something profound, the power to live authentically, shadows and all. This journey isn't easy. It's not about quick fixes or endless euphoria. It's about showing up for yourself day after day, even when the path feels unclear. Jung's wisdom reminds us that the psyche is a living system, always moving, always seeking balance. Your lack of motivation isn't a dead end. It's a doorway to a deeper version of you, but you have to walk through it. You have to choose to face the shadows, to ask the hard questions, to take the small, honest steps. So, here's your call to action. Don't wait for the spark to return on its own. Start today. Pick one small truth you've been avoiding and act on it. Write it down, say it out loud, share it with someone you trust. Then do it again tomorrow, and the next day. Each step is a rebellion against stagnation, a declaration that you're alive and growing, even in the quiet moments. Write in the comments, I choose truth. Share what you're facing, what you're ready to own. Or, if you're not ready to share, subscribe to keep exploring this journey with us. The path to motivation isn't about forcing the river to flow. It's about trusting it, shadows and all, to carry you where you're meant to go. You're not stuck. You're just beginning.